Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Angela. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Before I get started, I want to read my disclaimers. If you are in immediate danger, please call 911, or you can reach out to the domestic hotline at 800-799-SAFE, 800-799-7233. And for mental health resources, reach out to NAMI at 800-950 NAMI 800-950-6264, and you can also text NAMI at 741741. With that being said, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. So today I wanted to share with you a story that happened in my last marriage. So I guess today is story time, and I'm going to be talking about how I was gaslighted. I know this term is being used a lot, and it's nothing to be taken lightly. It's something that you want to pay close attention to, and you want to know how to protect yourself from a situation such as this. So I'm just going to talk about how one time when I was married, my husband, he was at work this particular night. And we often would talk on the phone. His shift was from 3 to 11. So we often would talk on the phone around 9:30 and just catch up on our day. And so this night we were talking, and the conversation was coming to an end. So we were saying goodbye, and he asked if I wanted him to stop by and pick up anything. And I said no. So he said, well, I'll see you shortly. So as we were hanging up, I hung up the phone, and I was getting ready to place my phone down by the nightstand, and I noticed that he was calling me back. So I answered the phone, and I said, hello, and he didn't say anything. So I could hear him moving in the background. So I decided, well, I'll just hang up and call back. But something told me, no, don't hang up, just listen. So I didn't say anything, and he was still on the phone, and I heard him speak to a few coworkers, and you could hear in the background people were doing things. It sounded like a break room, and it actually was. And I could hear him taking off some things from his uniform. He was a security for a hospital. So he was in the room, and almost immediately he started talking. This person walks into the room, and they exchange pleasantries, and he said to the guy, man, you don't need to go through what you're going through with your girlfriend or wife. I can't remember if it was a girlfriend or a wife, but he specified who it was. He said, you don't need to go through this. And he said, I remember one time, and he told this story about a situation that had happened between him and I, but it was a totally different version of what had happened. So I'm listening to him tell this guy how you need to be the man of the house. You need to make sure you take control, and you don't need to let anyone tell you what to do. And he started talking about how in our situation that I wanted to turn on the heat, and the house was already warm, and my son, wanted to also turn it on because it was cold. And I'm thinking, and I'm listening to this story, and I'm trying to think back, when did this happen? And so as he goes on to say that how he pays all the bills, and the heat is going to go on when he says it's going to go on, and at this time the house is not cold, so at this time we're not turning on heat. And I'm thinking to myself, who would live like that? And I was thinking, I would never allow someone to have that much control over me. So he's, telling the story, and I'm sitting back and I'm listening, and I'm getting upset to where I wanted to interject, but something was saying, just hold your peace, just listen. So he's talking about how he has control and how he established that early on in the relationship. And they know, meaning myself and my son, know how things are to go in the household. And I'm always asking him if I can or can't do anything. And like I said, at this point, I'm really upset because I'm listening to him spew out lies to strangers, people I've never met, and people don't know me. But I'm listening to him talk in such a way that I thought was very strange. So this went on for about 15 minutes. I didn't say anything. I'm just quiet. I wanted to go into another room so someone else could hear. My daughter was there, but I figured my grandkids would be making too much noise. So I actually went into the bathroom and I just closed the door in our room so that I could just listen. And he went on for, like I said, 15 minutes talking about how he has control, how I have to ask him for things before I can do anything. And it was so far from the truth that it was just astonishing. So I'm listening, and like I said, in 15 minutes, I hear him saying, "Oh, it's time for me to go. I need to go make my rounds." And I'll talk to you guys later. And I guess at this point, he noticed that the phone has been running for a while. He's looking at his phone, and I hear him say hello. And I don't say anything, and he says hello a few more times, and so I hang up the phone. And then he calls back and he said, "Oh, did you just call me?" And I said, "No." And then he said, "You sure you didn't call me?" I said, "I'm positive I did not call you." And then he said, "Oh." And he said, "Well, I must have called you." And I said, "Yeah, it would be something like that." And then he said, "What's that supposed to mean?" And I said, "Oh, nothing." And at this point, I'm so mad, but I'm trying to keep it together. And then so I said, "I'll talk to you when you get home." And then so he says, "What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, nothing is wrong." And then I couldn't hold it anymore. I said, "So this is what you do at work. You talk about your family." And at that point, he got quiet. He said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I said, "Yeah, you do." I said, "I heard everything that you said." I said, "I've listened to you talk for 15 minutes about how you have all this control and how your family can only do what you allow them to do." And he said, I didn't say any of that." And I said, "I heard everything you said." And the part that got me was, now I know I heard everything that he said. I mentioned the story that he was telling, and he said, "No, I didn't say that. You didn't hear that. That's not what was said. You heard the other guy talking about his family." And I said, "No." I said, "That was you talking about me and my son." I said, "I heard everything you said." And he, for at least 15 minutes to 30 minutes, trying to get me to come to a conclusion that I hadn't heard what I heard. And so I said to him, I said, "So why don't you get the people you were talking to me about on the phone and let them tell me what I heard?" "No, we're not going to do all that. See, there you go, making up stuff. You didn't hear this." And I'm thinking to myself, you must be really crazy. I heard everything. And so that night he comes home, and the argument continues. And I said, "I know what I heard. You're not going to weasel your way out of this. I heard it." And I said, "If that's the way you feel, then we should think about separating." And then at this point, because he was never done with how he wanted to be in control of this relationship, it was always about how he wanted to make me feel like I was doing something so wrong, like I was the reason that this relationship wasn't working. So he decided, "I'm not doing anything, and I don't know what you think you heard." And I said, "I heard everything." And so we go back and forth. And I said, "I don't want to argue with you about this." I said, "I'm tired of arguing with you about this." I said, "I know what I heard." I said, and I think we should think about going our separate ways. And that was like the first time I had ever said something like that. But I started to realize that this person was full of lies and full of making me feel like I was doing something that was wrong. And so this would be, in his mind, he figured, well, before we get a divorce, let's go get counseling. He had never wanted to do that before. So I decided, okay, yeah, we'll go. And I noticed the very first time we went to counseling, the counselor, she was an older woman, and she was sitting there, she was listening, and we were talking, and I decided, he always said that I never listened to him, so I decided, well, you go first. You tell what's wrong. He sat there and he looked and he said, well, I don't have any issues. And then he said, you the one wanted to go through this, so you go first. So I decided to tell her about that incident, and I started to tell her about other things that I have noticed with him. I said, it just feels like we are living in two different realities. I said, he'll do something and I'll see it or hear it, and he will argue me down that this didn't happen. And so she was, listening, and out of the blue, he says to her, you're going to take her side anyway, and I don't want to be here anymore. He stood up, he started to yell, and he had never acted that way before. And so I'm just looking at him like, what is going on? He's, having a breakdown. And then she's trying to calm him down. And she says to him, I can't help you if you don't listen. And then so he actually walks out of the room. And I'm left there with the counselor. And she says to me, is he violent? And I said, no, he hasn't hit me or anything like that. And she said, well, if so, you don't have to stay there. She said, but I'm going to have to terminate your visits. I can't deal with him. And this was after one visit. And I just felt so helpless because his goal was, when I was telling what was going on, the counselor seemed to have a solution, and she understood that I wasn't making these things up. So his goal was to get rid of her. And so I'm thinking to myself, now that we don't have a person that's neutral, that knows nothing about us but what we tell them, now I don't even have that. So we continued to argue. He continued to deny things that I knew was true. He often would say, even your kids know that you have issues, that you're making up things that are not true. And I said, no. I said, that's not true. And he said, well, everybody's going to be on my side. At that moment, I realized that I was being gaslighted, as they would say. I don't know what the past tense of the word is, but he was gaslighting me. So at this moment, I started to notice that he was trying to get people on his side to make me look crazy. And I wasn't going for it. So I decided, okay, well, if we're going to stay married, then we need to continue counseling. We need to find someone else. Surprisingly, he agreed. So we agreed, and we would go to counseling, and he would start making up stories. He made up this one story about him being the one to help me raise my children. When I met him, my youngest child was 14 or 13. So I had pretty much raised him on how things should be, but he was in the mindset telling everybody that he had been excuse me excuse me, that he had been there with my children, and he had helped raise them. So when he said that to the counselor, I had to let her know that wasn't true. And I started to, stand up for myself, and she started to hear what I was saying. It wasn't though if she was taking sides, but she really started to try to help the both of us. And when he saw that he didn't have an ally in her, he just started to agree with everything that was being said. And the counseling, we didn't continue because he felt that things were getting better. But as soon as we stopped, it went back to the same thing. It was him telling lies and saying things that wasn't true, and trying to get me to believe it as if I didn't see what had just happened. So he was a real master of manipulator, but I wasn't falling for it. I wasn't letting him twist my reality. So, I told this story to tell you, if you're in a relationship with someone who is telling you that the sky is green and you know for a fact it's not green, don't argue with this person. Simply just try to get out of this relationship, because it's a head game. It's a mind game that they're playing, and they're trying to get the ultimate control. And you don't want to be left in a relationship to where you have no voice and you can't defend yourself. So I got out of my relationship. I stopped trying to work things out with him. I stopped trying to fight with him, because it was like talking to a person that mimicked everything you said. When I would tell him, I asked him, why are you doing this? And he would say, well, why are you doing this? So it was no real conversation. Nothing was being solved, until I realized that I couldn't take this no more. So I needed to file for a divorce, because he did this from the start. And when I think about things in our relationship, I see how he was a master manipulator from the start. And sometimes when you're in a relationship, you just overlook the smallest things and you just don't think it's nothing. But those are the things you need to pay attention to, because you have people that have a game, and they have they have a focus on what they're going to do in a relationship, and it's not about being faithful and loving you in the relationship. It's about gaining control and seeing if they can possess who you are as a person. And he would always say something that to this day, I don't like it. You're mine, you belong to me. And he knew I didn't like it, and he was, oh, I'm just playing. I know you're your own person. But he would always often say that. And I told him, I said, I really don't like it when you tease this way. So, stop it. But he would still do it. And it would always be, oh, I'm just being funny. You too serious. Can you take a joke? Don't be so sensitive. All the terms that a gaslighting person would use toward you, just to make you feel some kind of way. And it's, like I said, it's the master of manipulation. They try to make you feel like you're losing your mind. And if you're weak-minded, and if you are so damaged, you will start to believe their lies and their reality. You'll probably start to think, well, did I see it that way, or did it happen that way? But I was the type of person, I know what happened, and you're not going to change what I know and what I've seen and what I've heard. So it didn't work. But be careful, protect yourself when you're in a relationship. Know who you're dealing with. And if you are in a relationship where this person is always making it seem like it's you and trying to get people to believe that you're the one that's crazy, step back, take a look at it, and make sure that this is not happening to you. And if it is, get out of the relation as soon as possible. People like this, they have no regards for your feelings. They have no regards for your mental health. So it's safe for you to not argue with this person, not try to prove your point, but get out of this relationship, and always find a place where you can have a voice. I hope this is helping someone. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Bye.